All right, so it's coming down to the wire. It's that time of year, and if you have yet to buy a gift for the lazy guitar player or musician, professional or unprofessional in your family, this is the video for you. I got a bunch of stuff today that would make a great gift for the guy or gal in your life, or even for yourself. If you're making a wish list, here are some ideas. Holiday Gift Guide 2022. Stick around. How's it going, y'all? My name is Cuda Greenberg here at Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, all right? We ask you to do it every time. You probably already did it, so disregard that request. But if you haven't, subscribe. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. So, gift guide. You got very little time left this year, but your cousin Greg has been playing guitar for a few weeks. He needs something cool. So I got a whole new bag of tricks. Some stuff may have carried over from last year because I still think it's really cool. I don't want to keep that video all dated. If you want to learn more about any of this stuff, I have a little companion article that you can click on in the description below. Go straight to the website, find all the stuff that I'm talking about, and we'll get it to you. So let's jump right in. Something that I'm very proud to show off today. This is the Cuda winder, and it's special because it was created, developed, and made by our in-house guitar tech, Casey Jones. Some of you have heard us talking about him before. He is an absolute wizard when it comes to guitars, and he made his own string winder that we have here. You can learn more about it on his website. Just look up Cuda winders, or you can get one from us. Basically, the whole idea here, it takes the guesswork away from restringing your guitar. Now, you might have a child who plays guitar. You might be a child that's playing guitar. And you might not be great at restringing your own guitar. And this is a really nice tool to help you learn how to do so. This is what Casey uses on all the restrings in the store. If you watch any of the videos that they're going to be putting out of guitar rehab stuff, you'll see these often. Basically, you'll see some notches in here that correspond to each string, and Casey designed it basically where once you get all your strings taken off, you put them back on. It does have a little end pin pop up right there. When you feed the string through the post, you can wrap it around the corresponding notch, give yourself a little pull, make an angle on it so you know exactly how much string to leave. Really takes the guesswork out of restringing the guitar so you don't have to keep bringing your guitar into a guitar shop like ours and paying a bunch of money to get somebody else to restring it. Learn how to do it at home. These are very cool, and we're really proud to have Casey as our guitar tech in the store. So number one, got to get yourself a cool winder, and it's a gift for anybody that is not great at restringing their guitar. Learn how to do it right, or as Casey says, string your guitar like a pro. All right, so that's the Cuda winder. Up next, I did mention this last year, and it's sticking around in this year's list because I do think it's one of the coolest things that has come out. This is not the first headphone amp that has been put on the market, but I do think it's probably the best. This is the Fender Mustang Micro. As you can see right here, it looks like this. It's got a little 1/4-inch jack on there. Plug it into your guitar, plug some headphones in. You got 25 amps and effects. Bunch of cool stuff. You can mess around. Don't bother your roommates or your family, whomever is in the house while you're trying to learn that song with the ridiculous overdrive, scream, and distortion. You got it all on here. You got EQ, modifications that you can make. You got effects and amps, and it's just a really great simulator. Fender makes great effects. If you're into the Mustang combo amps, it's basically like a little Mustang modeling amp in a tiny little box that you can put on your guitar. I think they're very cool. They got Bluetooth on them. You can use it to record through, put it into your computer. You can, all that stuff. It's just a really cool tool, and it's not very expensive, and it's just a nice little thing, especially if you're traveling. You want to bring a little mini Strat with you and some headphones, and this, you got practice anywhere you want. Mustang Micro is a very cool gift, and I think anybody would be happy to have one. But up next, you're tired of practicing, you want to get some tracks down, you want to record. Our next thing, and this is just an example, but it is a very cool gift to get somebody the capability of recording at home with a little USB interface. This is my favorite one that's been put out in the recent, I want to say these maybe came out at the end of last year, and I probably have mentioned them way too many times on the channel, but Universal Audio makes the best recording gear that, is really geared towards home recording. The Apollo interfaces are fantastic, and that's really the step up. If you start with something like this, you want to get into more professional grade stuff. But the Volt series are the affordable interfaces from Universal Audio. This is the single input version, the 176. There's the Volt 1, and this is the 176. It's 76 because it's got a 76 style compressor built into the channel, so you can engage that compressor, and it's also got a 610 style mic preamp. So you can do vocals, you can do guitar, add some compression, do some really great vintage style sounds just in this one little box. And it does come, so everybody knows UA because of their amazing plugins. With the Apollos, the Volt has their own kind of realm of plugins that are all really great. And this comes with trials to a lot of different software, and it's just a great gift to get somebody that you think is ready to take that jump into recording some of their stuff at home. The Volt is a great option. We got other stuff from Personas, Focusrite. Either way, up to 16 channels, whatever you want, big or small. An interface is a great gift for somebody that needs a little push into making some music. So I like the Volt 176. You can find more on the website, but that's number 3. Now let's say someone needs to jump off from, they've been practicing guitar a bunch and they've already been recording their stuff. Now they need to add a whole new sound palette to the mix. This is not the Pro Audio channel. That is Zach Marr's realm, but this is something that I think any musician should really try to get into. Just bring some little synthy action into the mix, literally and figuratively. Roland boutiques are a really good option because they're small little modules and they emulate these classic Roland synths. I think if anybody is a fan of a lot of what's being put out right now, indie rock wise, it almost seems like all these bands that maybe 5 years ago were making kind of punky garage melodic indie stuff, they're all going synth pop. And I think it's overplayed, and we can get into that elsewhere. But it's nice to have some synths in the background of what you're playing, and it really switches it up. It'll inspire you a little bit differently. And the Roland boutiques are a great way to do that. This is the JX08 based on the classic JX8P. Now, like I said, I'm not a crazy synth guy, but I know that I really like the sound of these classic Roland synths, be it the Junos, the Jupiter, the JX8P, the JD stuff. They make all these synths, and as well as some of the drum machines. There's the TR08. You can get some 808 kind of vibe going on. These are really fun. They're easy to kind of chain up all together, and it will help you kind of explore a whole new sound, area that you might want to add into the mix. So for the guitar player, get him away from playing guitar and get him a synth. I think it's a fun idea. Next, I think the go-to gift, it's like everybody in my family knows that if you don't quite know what to get, the patriarchs of my family, my father and my grandfather, are totally down to get some University of Texas Longhorns stuff. I think the same thing goes for anybody whose family member plays guitar. It's easy to just get them a pedal. And this is a plea to switch it up a little bit, all right? Everybody gets a DS1 or a Tube Screamer or a new Crybaby, something real, not predictable, but you might find that the guitar player in your life already has all these effects. So my recommendation, if you're trying to get a pedal for somebody, you don't know exactly what they want, go a little bit out of the box or look to what is new. And one of the newer things that came out this year that was extremely popular is the RE2 and the RE202. Now, I should have unboxed this before we started the video, but as I'm doing it, I will tell you, why I like this pedal. It is based on the classic Roland Space Echo module, and it really distills all that cool, spacey, psychedelic vibe down into a compact pedal for your board. The 202 is a little bit bigger, a little bit more to play with, but for all intents and purposes, the RE2 is a really great distillation of that classic Space Echo sound. Some other cool things, there's the new SL2, the slicer. We got those, immediately sold out of them, but maybe try and look at what's new. If you have any questions, give us a call because we got a bunch of cool new pedals that are a little out of the box. Throw a wrench into somebody's board and get a little weird with it. I'm not saying that this is the craziest, most progressive pedal ever, but it is a little bit different than the carbon copy that you were going to get for somebody that they probably already have. So RE2, I think it's a good option. Next, a couple little things that are worth having or maybe upgrading that your guitar playing friend or family member might already have. Everybody needs capos and everybody loses capos all the time. Now, this is a capo that I actually tried when our Diodario rep came into the store. He said, we got this cool kind of premium capo, and usually to me, I think a Kaiser will do the job. Every capo is the same. But something that I really like about this one is if you don't know what kind of guitar that they're going to be playing it on, or if you are getting it for yourself and you have a bunch of different guitars, this is a nice way to kind of conform to every single fretboard radius and neck shape. This has got this sort of patty, kind of memory-esque thing on here, and that's a really professional way of saying it. But this adjusts to any radius, and it's really sleek. I don't love a massive capo with a bunch of prongs sticking out. I think it can look a little sloppy. So it's sleek capo. This is the Pro Plus capo with the Flex Fit fretboard pad. And I just think it's a nice capo. And if you are looking for a little sussy for somebody, a new capo will do the trick. Up next, everybody loses tuners all the time. And last year, Snark put out the rechargeable versions. And I think this is the direction that a lot of brands are going in. Fender has, I believe it's called the Spark 2.0. You can find it on the website. I don't want to misquote their naming of their cool rechargeable tuner. But the Snark rechargeable, the Fender one, it's nice to have a rechargeable tuner because you got a little cable with it. You've probably got a USB port closer to you than you have a huge stockpile of watch batteries. So it's nice to have a rechargeable tuner, and you probably have a bunch of these hidden in the couch cushions and everything, but it's always nice to have an extra one. And this is a little toolkit that Gibson put out. It's got pretty much everything that you need to do a good setup on a guitar. If you're getting more into, doing your own guitar work, this is a nice way of doing it. It's got all the little bits, got a string winder, it's got wire clippers, and it's just a nice thing to have. Throw it in your car, throw it in your backpack. If you need to make a little adjustment while you're on the road, Gibson makes really nice accessories for their guitars, from picks and all that kind of stuff, really nice straps. But this is a little more, I don't know, this is kind of a next step thing for if you got a bunch of guitars, say you're a traveling musician, it's nice to have a little toolkit with you for a setup or a quick restring. So I recommend that, and the tuner. But the one thing that any guitar player will need forever are strings, and I think it's a nice gesture to get somebody a little bit nicer kind of premium string, because they're maybe just throwing on, as cheap as they can get strings because they just blow through them. And I think the Diodario XS, I've mentioned these before on the channel, we've done comparisons with these. I think these are the best strings around right now for acoustic guitar. They make really great coated electric strings as well. But something about the packaging, I just really like them. I've put these on my acoustics for a little bit. These are the phosphor bronze. They do now make 80/20 bronze, so you get whichever flavor you prefer. And they make them in all the gauges, like any good string manufacturer should. Everybody likes Diodario. But the XS, they're really nice. Get a few packs of strings for a stocking stuffer for all your guitar playing friends. And I do think these are a great way to go. They got a little resealable packet. I mean, they're nice to look at. nice to play on, they last forever, really good tone. So you can never go wrong with strings. Elixirs are great too. Gibson makes great strings, Fender makes great strings, and Martin makes great strings. Everybody's kind of got their version of the treated or coated long-lasting acoustic string. These are just the ones that I like right now. Strings are never a bad idea. But for a little bit of everything, Taylor makes, guitars that for some reason I find people want to collect more than any other guitar manufacturer. I find that people that get Gibsons and Martins, they're like, this is my holy grail guitar. I've wanted a D28 or a J45 Hummingbird, whatever it is, for my whole life. I finally saved up. This is my once-in-a-lifetime guitar. But for some reason, everybody that I know that gets Taylors is just on the lookout for the next one. And if you know somebody that's obsessed with Taylor guitars, like my counterpart that's usually here, Chris McKee, they have now put out Essentials packs. And, we talk a lot about the Taylor wear. They make great accessories. They make a strap that fits every single series. So if you got a 300 series, 400 series, whatever, you can get a specific strap to match all those. But if you don't know what guitar somebody has that's a Taylor fan, the Essentials pack comes with polish, a polishing cloth, a really nice strap, and a pick tin. Now, it does come in either satin or gloss, which is nice because there's a lot of variation between series and all that, but can't go wrong with an Essentials pack. It's a nice way of just building out somebody's Taylor obsession. So check it out on the website and check out all the other Taylor wear stuff. Their straps are some of my favorites. I really like the suede ones. Taylor fans, get the Essentials pack. They're cool. Now, if somebody in the family is maybe a guitar enthusiast like your friends at Alamo Music Center and wants to try to do the unthinkable and make a guitar-related podcast with enough output to please everybody that surprisingly listens to it, I recommend feeding somebody's bad habit of wanting to be a podcast host and getting them set up with the right stuff. So Audio-Technica makes a few different packs like this. We got a few others from other manufacturers. I think this is just maybe the best. It comes with your boom arm so you can film it like Joe Rogan and start getting problematic guests in your house. It's got a nice little condenser mic and some headphones. So you can hook this up to your computer, you can start recording whatever comes to mind, be it bad opinions on guitar manufacturers, stuff to make people upset about the music that you don't like or that you think is overrated. Really, it just seems like the next step in our society is that everybody's gonna have a podcast. So might as well start the right way. Don't just record it on your iPhone. What are you doing? You gotta get the boom arm and then set up a camera. And I am gonna throw a challenge out to everybody here. If you start a podcast, make it your New Year's resolution, you wanna start talking about guitars, we will do it to where everybody that's in the comments that's always saying, you don't put out enough of the Fretboard Confessional, we apologize. But if you get a podcast and you do more output than we do in 2023, you get a special discount code for whatever you want. And we'll decide that later. But if anybody actually takes me up on that, we'll talk. So a podcast kit, maybe you're done with practicing and you just want to talk bad about other people's guitar playing. Let's go. That's a good option. Now, the last one to round it out, that's the big one that didn't fit in my box. What I think is probably the coolest one, this is the Diodario backline kit. And this is a backpack that they put out last year. I think it kind of flew under the radar, but in the same, meeting when I learned about the cool new capo, I was shown this and then decided that we needed them and a lot of them for the store. And we've already sold a bunch before I could even put it in a video. So this is what we kind of like to refer to as the perfect disaster kit for a gig. It's got all kinds of pockets that are modular, so you can move these around, but it's really set up to be able to carry all this stuff with you. This is great for cables over here. It's got pockets for strings, pockets for microphones. If you're doing the thing where you bring your computer and you play through Logic because it's Gen Z time, it's got a nice laptop sleeve. And it's got little pockets on the side, you know, for a little bit of everything. If you're in the Grateful Dead cover band, I'm pretty sure it's smell proof, so you can kind of put in whatever sort of contraband you might need. This guy pops out. There's little pockets in there that can fit collapsing mic stands. It can fit pedals, all your strings, all that stuff. And really, I think when it comes down to it, there should at least be one person in the band that's got something like this with them. So maybe it's past Christmas and you just played your New Year's Eve gig at the Tower of America, is where you had to play for 5 hours, and you made a bunch of money. Some of the band funds should go to something like this and fill it out with everything that anybody in the band could possibly need in an emergency at the gig. It gives you all the recommendations here, from batteries, which you always need at a gig, extra strings, some pedals, some patch cables, string winder, clipper, microphones, all that extra stuff, because at almost every gig that I've ever played, somebody says, "Do you have an extra 1/4 inch? I left mine at the gig last week," or "My tuner pedal is dead. Do you have a 9-volt?" Fill this out with everything that you'll need. You will never regret it. And you can get it, leave it empty, let your guitar playing friend fill it up with whatever he or she needs. Or if you want, give us a call. We will help you load this thing up with all the right stuff to make your perfect disaster kit. I think it's a great option, and I think it's really well made, very solid and very cool. Now, I said that was the last thing. I do have one more thing, because all this stuff that I now have around me is very practical, very cool, and sort of geared towards maybe a person that's really just getting into guitar. They need to learn how to, put the strings on correctly. Somebody that needs to be practicing a bunch. You got a Mustang Micro, you got all this practice stuff, pedals, tuners. It's geared towards either the beginner or the performing musician. But the very last thing that I have to show you is something that is geared towards the ultimate guitar collector that probably just got their Presentation Series Taylor or their D45 or custom shop Black Beauty Les Paul. They have a guitar that is for display purposes because they have dreamed of having that D45 their whole life. They want it on display. This is an extremely vulgar display of beauty and Mammoth tone and something very interesting and cool. If you want to get into it, if you want to display that not only do you have the best guitar, but you have the rarest and most interesting tools to play the guitar, these are picks made out of Mammoth tusk. And it's kind of weird to just hold one because these are thousands and thousands of year old tusk pieces that have been shaped into guitar picks. And yes, you can use them, and yes, I have played around with these, and they feel good, and they're strong, and they're not gonna break. And it's like a real life pick of destiny that you can harness the tone of prehistoric rock and roll deep in the soul of the earth, but also in a nice little display case on your desk at the office with your D45 in the background. If you have the best guitar, you might as well have the wildest, coolest, most unbelievably historic pick in the world. So you can find these on our website as well. They come in sets of 3, and they're pretty wild to just hold and fun to show people and fun to play around with. So they're in very limited quantities. If you or somebody that you know needs a Mammoth tusk pick, that's gonna be the one right there. And they're all different and they're all very cool. So we've covered something for the D45 player that plays a G chord every once in a while but needs a beautiful pick. And everything in between. Get synthy, start working on your guitars, learn how to take care of them right with nice winders and toolkits and polish and straps and strings and recording. And you're gonna make a podcast now, and you're gonna have everything that you ever need, so you never have to drive to the Walmart that's 15 miles away in your rural hill country Texas gig, like I've had to do several times, to go get a 9-volt. So I think we covered all the bases. I welcome you to put in the comments, if you're a guitarist, what some of the coolest gifts you've ever gotten were, if you have other ideas. But I urge all of you to get outside the box. Don't go buy a t-shirt that says Gibson on it. Go buy something from Gibson that is a practical tool and carry that out for all of the brands that we spoke about. Really try to think about all those little things that might be out of the box, might come in handy, or might drive somebody to explore new sounds. And I think that there's a lot of great options right now. Like I said, if you want to learn more about any of this stuff, you can click the description below. I've written it all out in my reasonings why that I think they're the coolest things, why I'd like to get them. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, enjoy your holidays, have a great New Year, and we will see y'all soon.